And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Cantina Cocktail Hour. It's Friday night. We're here. We're ready to chat. We're ready to hang out. We're ready to see who is with us on this Friday evening. So, cool, awesome. Tom, Dave,
Hello.
what's
Hey, what's
up?
up? Hey, everyone.
Good morning.
It's morning somewhere.
So yeah, not here.
It's
Late at
morning
night here on
somewhere.
the East Coast.
Yep.
It's it's nighttime here too. Not late, but not but night. So cool stuff. Thanks to everybody who is hanging out with us, and I think it's been a bit since we've done one of these, huh, guys?
Yeah, the three-person one. Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
few weeks. This is always more fun. The pressure's off, and we can riff off each other. I like this a lot.
For sure. I'm excited.
I didn't go drink for 3 hours at the bar directly before this time. So
Yeah.
the ending of it won't just be me like this. Where's my cat? Or it might
Yeah.
still be. Who can tell?
Yeah. So sorry we're a little bit late, guys.
Got a fresh one.
A few things going on behind the scenes, but we're up. Everything's working, and looks like we're in good shape at the moment. So, as always, cocktail hour, right? What are we drinking, guys?
Always gin and tonic for me. Always gin and
Nice.
tonic. I never stray from it. It's delicious. Tanqueray, Q tonic, fantastic stuff.
Easy. All right, Tom's
Mhm.
easy. Okay.
I'm just drinking a beer. I have a perpetual IPA.
There you go.
Nice. So I have something different. I don't know if I'm going to like it. It is called the brand's Victory, and it's called a Sour Monkey Sour Triple, and it's it's a beer.
Oh,
Victory.
It's a
Yeah.
sour. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I don't know how
That
sour it's gonna
brewery
be.
is actually pretty close to me. I've been there. I've eaten there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually.
So okay. Yeah. So it'll be a taste of Dave's home area location. All right, guys. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Nice to chat with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow, that's sour. It's it tastes like green apples. It is so sour that it doesn't even taste alcoholic. That could be dangerous.
That could be.
It's a triple. Watch out.
That could be dangerous. Well, cool, guys. So there's a lot to talk about. I'm sure you guys have been keeping up with social media and seeing as of late the stuff going on behind the scenes with Black Series and Vintage Collection and people kind of going at it back and forth. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk as well about some announcements that were revealed this week. In addition to that, anything new that we've added to our own personal collections, as well as we'll talk about the future of Boba Fett. What's going to happen now that that series has ended? Where's this character going to go? And we haven't really talked about our feelings about how the show ended, so we'll talk about that too. So plenty to discuss. Let's see who is here with us in the chat this evening. So we have Dodgson. Our pal Dodgson is here. He got here early. He got here really early.
He got here on time.
Yes.
Victoria.
Yes, he showed up on time. I should take a lesson from Dodgson. Jason is with us. Hey, good evening, Jason. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us again. Alex, how is it going? Good to see you. We have Pico V1 in the house. Hey, how's it going? Milky Way Skywalker, who just posted an awesome video of the Razor Crest on Instagram. And cool. Go check him out. He put some blue lights in it. It looks fantastic. Cool. It looks really, really cool.
Wait, what's his Instagram handle?
Milky Way Skywalker.
Okay,
yes.
Great. I'm going to do that right now.
So we have Alex. I received my Black Series exclusive Mando and Grogu Arvilla 7. Nice, awesome. Nice. Glad to hear that. We have Paul with us. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Good to see you here with us. We have Dom with us. Great Razor Crest video. Thank you. Appreciate that. Lena Green is here with us. How's it going?
Oh, there's my wife. Hi, Lena. Hey. She's not here.
Awesome. Awesome. And Mary's with us. Hey, Mary, how is it going? It's good to see you here, hanging out with us. So cool. We got a nice little crowd building. A lot of our pals are here hanging out with us. Cool. So awesome. Glad to see everybody that's with us, and hope you guys enjoy our chat this evening.
I'm trying to set this up so it looks like I'm looking at you.
What else would you be looking at?
Well, no, because I'm looking like here, so it's like, moving which direction this thing goes.
You got to gaze into the lens of the camera, Tom. Just gaze into it as if we're sitting. It's our eyeball, our
Hello,
one
Victoria
eyeball.
And Dave. I'm having a good time here with you.
Nice. So I wonder if Tom's going to have any ghost stories this evening or UFO stories. That's one of the things I've been thinking about, like looking forward to. So we'll see what he has.
So many ghosts. So
when
many
we get
ghosts.
to the witching hour portion of this show.
That's drink 3. I think we call that drink 3.
Yeah. So at that point, you don't know what's real. You don't know what's not. So.
That's right. Yeah. Remember, as soon as Tom hits drink 3, it's time to say goodbye to Tom. Good night, Tom.
Should have a little counter on the screen somewhere.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun, though, right? That's part of the fun. All right. Yeah. Jason says, stare lovingly into our eyes.
Hello.
And that sounds weird. Yeah, I mean, we're always weird on this show. It's part of the fun.
Milky Way Skywalker. Victoria is not kidding. That's cool. That's cool. So Victor, you got the Razor Crest. Dave, you did not, right?
No, I get almost nothing from Vintage Collection.
Yeah.
The way he said that, it was just it's kind of like he woke up on his birthday. I got almost nothing from Vintage Collection.
I get nothing from Vintage Collection.
Yeah, these days, Vintage Collection is getting all the love, which doesn't bother me. I like both scales, but
now
I screamed when Jabba the Hutt's palace got revealed.
Whoa.
Not just because of its exorbitant price tag, which I decided, well, welcome to 2022. But just because I've wanted that since 1983.
Yeah.
Like
this looks good.
It's there literally with the sail barge for me. Like after that, I'm done. I quit Star Wars.
He quit Star. How is that possible?
Yeah, it's not possible.
How can you quit Star Wars? Yeah,
lying. Yeah, that's like quitting drinking. You don't really do it.
You don't really do it. Yeah. So yeah, it's fantastic. It is a stellar piece of impressive plastic machinery. I have it on the shelf. It's like out of view because it's above the shelf that's behind me. So I'm kind of questioning, why didn't I put it on that shelf? But it's right below the sail barge on the shelf. And it's not as big as the sail barge. It's not as impressive as the sail barge. But it is still like quite a sight, just the metallic nature of it. Like your eye just goes like right to it.
It's gorgeous.
And, it is. There are a few problems with it. I had some QC issues with it, and some things on it could be better for sure. Maybe we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, so I didn't do a full review of the Razor Crest. I did what I call a more of a not a spotlight, but like a I don't even remember what I called it, but it was just kind of going over it. There you go, a showcase. So it was kind of like when you see the car on the stand at the car show and just like rotating, right? Kind of like that kind of thing.
I was going to rag on you about that because I watched it and I was like, I want to hear Victoria talking about this.
Yeah, it's just
pull it out.
Good. It's good.
Yeah.
I would have been there for like triple the time if I was talking. Who wants to hear me talk all night long? So anyway, that's over. Yeah. So everybody leaves. But yeah, no, so the first thing I guess with it is that there's this little ramp on the side that comes down. You see in the show, Mando goes down the ramp multiple times. It's the one that's on the side. There's also one in the back. The one in the back is great. The one on the side, there is a QC issue that multiple people have had where the little extension on the ramp that's supposed to just slide out did not slide out. I had to heat it up with the hair dryer for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was the first thing that I had. The second thing is there was a little bit of like a paint chip, like on one of the underneath it. It's not, you can't really see it at all, but it's underneath and it's like a tiny little like paint chip thing. And that is something that some people have seen is, just the paint, in some spots is chipped, which isn't good because you think long term, what's it's going to look like in 5 years, 10 years.
It'll look like the one from the end of the show. Get it?
If we're lucky.
Get it?
The third thing is that I have seen on social media, there have been reports of so the landing gear has these panels that shut and you have to, okay, so this is one of the things with the Razor Crest. The panels are really hard to open because some of them have like where you put little like grooves where you put your fingers in to like pop them open. Some do not. Where the landing gear goes, there are no grooves. You just have to really like figure out like how to open them carefully. And what I ran into was that they were just really hard to open, but they opened eventually, got the landing gear in, and they're fine. But some folks have had those like kind of break like in the corners. Yeah. Other than that, there have been some reports of like dried paint, like paint that got sprayed onto the parts and then assembled without the paint fully drying. So, they're just kind of really, certain things are really hard to open. That side ramp door doesn't close all the way. It does, but once you open it for the first time, it doesn't like latch quite as deeply as it does as it was initially. And the only other thing, it's not a QC issue, but it is a pain in the ass how difficult it is to put those weapons into the storage locker. They're not sculpted in there. If you've seen what that looks like in the show, you know how many guns Mando has in his weapons locker. That's like our toy collection. That's like his like little like thing in his Razor Crest, right? There are lots of guns in there, and there's like these really itty bitty like 3 centimeter like millimeter long detonators that you have to put in there by hand. And the thing is, so the opening is like this wide, right? Where the ramp is, where you go in straight to the locker, and then on the side you can take off the panel, but there's not like there is an opening on top, but you can't get there to that specific part. So it's very just hard to maneuver your arms in there and your hands in there to get those pieces in. I used needle pliers to get most of those in, and I was able to do it. It took like a half hour or so, but if you're like, I know a lot of people, like guys I've been reading like on social media, like, oh, I'm a middle-aged man and I got middle-aged man hands, and like they had a really harder time than I did. So
can I give
not
you
a QC issue, just a thing, just a design.
Can I give you some advice about all those tiny little parts?
Let's hear the advice.
Just put them in this. There's just, I get all these tiny little things. I have a buddy that like he'll come and Shooting the Galaxy. He used to come over and we'd go into my storage closet and like pull out like the figures, and he's looking, this gun doesn't belong to this. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It is guns, they just go into the bin. I lost all those things as a kid, so I'm like, whatever. Plastic baggie right there, perfect. Put them all in that, and then as soon as you need the 2 millimeter detonators for Mando to give to bad guy, you pull them out of the baggie and put it in there. Easy, done. And if you want it to be in the ship, you open up the little door on the side and you stuff it in. There you go.
Yes, that's a very viable solution.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Tom. So yeah, that is a possibility.
I would actually highly recommend it.
If you spend this much money on a crest, you want to do it right. I assume most people want to do it right. So time consuming, yes, but it looks cool once you get it done. And I'm never pulling any of those weapons out again.
There you go.
If there's no earthquakes or anything, or
yeah, they're a permanent feature of the Razor Crest.
Nice.
Until it gets blown up.
Let me see if I can do cool lighting like you guys.
Ooh,
there we go.
Dark side of the Force is the pathway to something.
So many abilities.
Hey, I watched episode 2 today. Actually, I don't know why.
Oh.
I've been at home with COVID, and I've been watching so many.
Oh no,
movies.
you got COVID?
Yeah. Don't feel bad for me. I had no symptoms. You know, so
Omicron ain't much.
But yeah, watched that today. I think I watched it last before Rise of Skywalker, but that happened.
I haven't really watched any of them since Rise of Skywalker. Though I just watched Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back down the street at the actual cinema.
Oh yeah.
So that was very exciting.
Cool.
What'd you think of Attack of the Clones?
It's a movie.
Is this 2002? What'd you think of Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, well,
I mean, the CG doesn't hold up. It's quite obvious on my 4K TV. And my wife was watching, reading a book, watching, and we just kind of made fun of all the Anakin Padme dialogue. So it was fun.
Yeah. I still love the designs in that movie. I'm crazy about what all the stuff
There's so much cool stuff there, and I get what they're trying to do, and it's executed so bad. Like the part when he's talking about slaughtering the Tuskens, and the emphasis is on the wrong part about him murdering it, and then he just is like, oh, and I feel bad. It's like, no, emphasize that part, make them more relatable. But I've always said, when you describe the prequels on paper, it sounds great. The execution is just so
terrible,
dry, and
I love them. I absolutely love them. Just give the stories to a competent director and a better screenwriter, and you could have had something really clever and thoughtful, because they're the ideas behind them is I absolutely love. So, which is why I still love the prequels. I've been defending them for years.
All right, let's take a look at a few comments. And I like this topic of AOTC. We'll come back to it in a second. Pico beyond, holy moly, haven't opened it yet. Tomorrow is the day I have something rolling around in the box. Eek. Oh, yeah, you better get that sorted out quick. Go to the doctor for that. Oh, and the Razor Crest box. Yeah, so that too. I don't know what it could be, but you do want to open it up. It's actually really well packed in there. Like the Razor Crest is so securely packed. I don't see it like, I don't know what would be rolling around there. You know what it probably is? It could be one of the carbonite blocks. It could have come out of the tray, which are really cool. That's a super cool feature of the ship. They're like on a little conveyor belt sort of thing that you got to manually move. But it's really cool. QC issues on a hazard product. You don't say. It happens.
It's the consumer's fault for buying 28,000 of them, I think, is what
I know. It's our fault for giving them more money.
Yep.
Red Wagon dioramas. My rattle turned out to be the door on to grow. You know what? Yes.
Oh, yeah. There you
Okay,
go.
that's what it is. So there is a little door, a little hatch door that plugs into Grogu's closet, but it doesn't go in really, really well. So you have to it's just kind of loose. You put it in there, but it can still fall out, and that's probably what it is. I think mine wasn't in there too. So yeah, good call, Red Wagon dioramas. So Pico B1, that's probably what it is. Jason says Tom is a modern man with modern solutions.
I'm
Absolutely.
handy. I'm handy. I've got practical solutions to all sorts of things. Nothing can't be fixed without duct tape and a sandwich bag.
You're the MacGyver of toys.
I'm absolutely, yeah.
Put them in a bag.
That's all you got to do.
So Milky Way Skywalker, yeah, it could have been easier to access the front of the cargo area for better playability. But I had to put myself in the mind of an 8-year-old self kind of fun. It is true. Any of this stuff, toys, once you get them like on your table and you're actually like putting things together, it's like, it's fun. Like you get into that mindset of, oh, look, here's this thing that I envisioned a year and a half ago. And, and finally it's come to fruition. It's right here. That's a really cool feeling for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. All that stuff's fun. That toy looks amazingly fun.
It is.
Let me ask you guys, let me ask you, what lights like this? Lights like this, which is better?
Like that.
Okay.
Like that. Mine are just the DTOF lights, like kind of reflecting off the rooms, like, so it's not even like anything like specific. But yeah, it looks good, Tom. Good ambiance.
Mm-hmm.
An action figure expert. What's up going on? How are y'all doing tonight? Hope all's well. We are good. Thank you for coming by. We certainly are happy to see you. And also Super Source Rex has joined the chat, so good to see you, Super Source, as well.
Master Seyfo-Dyas, the greatest character.
The greatest, yes. So, going back on this topic, so you mentioned something interesting, Dave, about Attack of the Clones. I actually rewatched it and Revenge of the Sith over the holidays, and I've for years have said Attack of the Clones is my least favorite Star Wars movie. And even when I watch it now, it's like, okay, there's certain things that, just really like are kind of detestable about it. But then there's little things that you find in there that are just like really good.
Oh, yeah.
So I found myself like, oh, this isn't as bad as it was last time I watched. I loved it in 2002. I thought it was like the greatest thing ever because I was like a kid.
Yeah.
But like I see it, as time has gone on, I've clearly noticed, the faults with it and the plot line and the love story and all that. But then, you find the little things about it that just make it, like somebody said a little while ago, like putting yourself in the 8-year-old mentality. Like there's some things about it that are really enjoyable.
The first half, the mystery where like Obi-Wan is almost a detective is like great. And then they kind of intercutting the Padme and Anakin stuff is just weird. But
the Padme Anakin stuff, like they should have been in peril, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like rather than we're just sort of hanging out on a date. Like put them in peril so that like their romance builds in that rather than we just sit around in a field. Like,
yeah.
And
like I said, the emphasis on everything is just in the wrong spot, and he says some like psycho stuff. They're like red flags, like get out of there, Padme, leave. And she's just like, oh, okay, and then like has like a bit of dialogue. It's just like, oh, that sounds normal. You're totally normal. Like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the love story is just so hard to buy. I mean, there's really like no, like you're saying, Dave, just all the creepy things that come up with them, like all the reasons that she shouldn't be with him. But yet there's nothing charismatic really about him either. He's like 5 years younger than her, and he's kind of a brat, and he's whiny, and Like,
yeah,
like
I think that comes from the direction too, from the director, because like, like I said, the emphasis is on the wrong spot, and it's almost like he says the quiet part too loud. He should say the creepy stuff. Almost the dialogue could stay the same and just be like more muted, understated with the way he says that, and then have more dialogue to bring out, be like, but I'm a good person underneath, and here's what I actually am and what I think. And it's like, that's always just like one line at the end, and it's not like the emphasis of the scene.
Yeah.
There's just like, go ahead, Dave.
I didn't say anything. Tom?
Oh, Tom.
Even think about the terrible, much maligned Sand Discourse and Rough thing. You could take that sequence and that same terrible dialogue and really play up just how awkward and stumbly he is over his words, right? Like, I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough, and it's get everywhere. And oh gosh, it's not like here, which is smooth. And you could do something with that, but it's yeah.
Moist, happy, and grumpy Tom is here, says the Clover.
I am grumpy though.
Maybe you'll get there. It's I put myself like I just imagine like being in Padme's position, like what in the heck did she find like about him that was redeemable? Like, I mean, there should have been moments where you really saw the attraction at play. Like maybe he just does little things, like you see him do little things to help out other people, or you see him like just like make these really good like quips or comebacks, and he does say a few things in there, but like he doesn't do anything that makes him seem like attractive really. So it's just I don't know, it's like you say, Dave, the direction's part of it, but the story, there could have been a little bit more there. I don't think Lucas has really like, I mean, you could tell it was like kind of came from a nerd, so to speak, because there's just really not a whole lot of like relatability in their relationship, or it's just really hard to see the chemistry and the attraction that goes on. But
yeah,
it's what it is.
Yeah.
I
love Kevin.
Sorry.
Nope. Go.
I've been using Letterboxd app to like track and rate everything, and I gave it like 2.5 stars. But I mean, it's not that good of a movie. I want to give it more because I'm always going to watch Star Wars, But I can see those things, and yeah, it's just I don't know, too much power.
Yeah, it's okay to unabashedly love something that you also know is not very good. Like I love all 3 prequels. I think that The Phantom Menace is actually the best one of them. And the reason for that is it's the only one that, dull and plodding and peculiar as it is, it holds its own story together. It introduces a set of characters, it introduces a situation, and it resolves it. It doesn't require other things. Like most people like Revenge of the Sith the most, which I understand. But the 2 most important moments of it, both scenes where Anakin turns into Darth Vader, like when he gives in to the Emperor and when he gets the mask on, like I think that those things are just so badly done that like, and also the entire thing relies on him having a relationship with Obi-Wan, which he doesn't spend any time with in the previous 2 movies, and Padme, whom he only spent time with really in the previous movie, and the chemistry is bad. So like those things hurt Revenge of the Sith like way too much for me. But then again, Revenge of the Sith also has General Grievous, so thumbs up.
No, I can see that. And then for me with Revenge of the Sith, I think it's more the emotional, where like it's a 3-movie buildup, then you know that it's coming, and it's like so tragic. And I was like devastated when I saw that in the theater, even though I knew that it was coming. I thought it was pulled off, but I was younger too. But no, yeah, I'm on a prequel kick here. Basically, because of Boba Fett, I watched Phantom Menace like the week that the Mando episode was on, where he got the new Naboo ship.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I put on Clone Wars recently. I was like, I'll just or Attack of the Clones, but trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I think also when you mentioned that there's not really a lot of time. I think, Tom, you said there's not a lot of time with Anakin and Obi-Wan until Revenge of the Sith, and that's true. I think, the first third of the movie is just them, right? And I think that's like they spend more time in that third of the movie together than they do in the last 2 episodes combined.
They have no interaction in the first movie. He says, "Hello, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi," and then I will train you, and that's it.
That's basically it. Yeah, and even with Padme, like Obi-Wan doesn't really have any time with Padme in the Phantom Menace. Just like little, like just in passing.
No, I keep hearing people refer to them as a trio, but it's like Obi-Wan doesn't spend any time with Padme. I'm surprised he even knows what her name is. Like, yeah. But I unabashedly love these things. I will watch them. Like, things that really irked me about these things, in particular the Phantom Menace. Like, well, I don't like battle droids. They're not scary like stormtroopers. They're not supposed to be. Jar Jar Binks is the worst thing ever. It's like, nah, he's a little bit overused, but he's funny and he's goofy. Everything takes place in these pretty locations rather than a desert. Oh, now I'm like, please don't ever show me a desert in Star Wars again. Ever. Please, never. Some things have become part of Star Wars and what we think of as Star Wars now, which were so outlandish and wrong 25 years ago when the Phantom Menace came out. It's like, now it's like, yeah, all that stuff's Star Warsy too. Like,
For sure.
I'm really loving how they're putting prequel love into the new series and stuff. Because there's a lot of prequel stuff in Boba Fett, and just makes it feel so much more real and connected.
Yeah,
totally. Jason says it was the Padawan rat tail. That's the total turn on right there.
I had one of those when I was a kid. I had an Obi-Wan Halloween costume I wore for like a couple years in a row, and I had the little braid that I put on, a little clip into your hair.
I remember that.
I think I still have it somewhere.
Oh gosh.
Maybe if I'll find it, I'll wear it on the next one.
I'm gonna do my Anakin creepy smile for you. Quick. Victoria, tell me to stop looking at you like that. It makes you uncomfortable. Say it. Come on, say it. Jurassic Dave, you say it.
Tom, stop looking at me like that. It makes me uncomfortable.
With the sound of like the motorcycle or whatever that was. It's just right. That was just
Brooklyn.
Right. Yeah, Fett Meta makes a good point. You have to count the 10 years unseen, right? So that's like the Clone Wars animation. But back then we didn't have that. You know, we only had like the micro series Clone Wars, and that was just like that. Yeah. So when you see that for the first time in the theaters, you know.
And like these things are made for kids, like Tom was saying. I think he was really going for like the 8-9-year-old, and it's supposed to be serialized, and you're just supposed to accept these are the heroes, and they have adventures, and they're real close, you know, because that's how my kids right now see that. And my kid tonight was really only asking, it's just like, why can't Anakin have attachments, and have to explain that, you know? That's all they see. They just accept it. Well, they're in love. Yeah, they're buddies.
Right. Yeah, but like, you know, my take is you have to show people becoming friends. You can't just have they get introduced and then the next movie they're like, here's an elevator. They say, remember all those great times we had together as friends? Oh, yes, those were great times. Anyway, see you at the end of the movie. Like, that doesn't work for me. I don't believe that relationship. That's a tell, not show thing. But yeah, it absolutely works for children.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, I don't care. They're there to see the monsters shooting lasers and stuff, right? Like, when I was a kid, I didn't know what a rebel was. I just knew they were good guys.
Are they still?
They're terrorists.
They're terrorists.
I know, they blew up the Death Star. Imagine all the people on there. All the families had to go home too.
Yeah.
It's a movie. You know, people say that. The Death Star, you know.
Everyone on the Death Star was a bad person. That's like you blew up Nazi Germany. You know? You gotta do it. You just have to do it.
Yep.
Don't ever get ethics questions tests with me. Ethics.
We won't. JJ, thank you for all that you do for Star Wars community, and love your. Thank you. Appreciate that, JJ. Really appreciate that. Todd says, "Are the scales balanced now?" So I know this is a big thing in the collecting community, particularly in the 3 3/4 inch. You know, some people that I'm, some friends I have in the community say this a lot, like balancing the scales, the same love for the Black Series, same love for the Vintage Collection. And I think on paper that sounds great, but I think it was from Hasbro, one of the lead designers, Chris, that works there said in a Q&A once that it's hard to balance the scale, so to speak, because there are certain things that work in the Black Series that don't work in the Vintage Collection and vice versa. So I don't think that the Black Series should do everything TVC does. I don't think TVC should do everything the Black Series does necessarily. I think if it works in the sense of it being like a main character, then yes. I think if it's in terms of world building, then yes, there's certain things in the Vintage Collection, in the Black Series, that need to be in the Vintage Collection that are not, like things like the client that's coming out. We just got that Navarro Cantina that just got released, and there's no client for that, but there's one in the Black Series. Things like that like need to be like adjusted, because that will work a lot better in TVC. But like doing the same exact thing in both scales, I don't think is really like good business. I don't think it's really like a good pursuit that Hasbro should try to do.
The client seems like one that I would argue would probably have been a better choice for the Vintage Collection, because I think the people that want to do the world building scenes are going to really want that. And I think beyond that, the client is going to sit on the shelf in the way that Carl Weathers and Quill have sat on the shelves. Unless he's really short packed, it's not going to sell, I don't think.
It's all about this thing right here.
Right.
Like we have every character, like main character from that last episode in season 1 of Mandalorian, to put in here except for the client. We have Grief Karga, but he's season 2. But I mean, still, we have a Grief Karga.
Don't you dare suggest they make another Grief Karga figure. I watched someone else the other day. They're like, they need to make another Grief Karga, but no, they don't. No, they don't.
Here's what I'll say: they should have made
Lando 2-pack.
Oh,
they should have made Grief Karga season 1 is what I'll say. They should have made season 1 Grief Karga for the Vintage Collection, not season 2. But also, anyway, so that's the only figure we need. Look how small the box is for this. They need to do the client for TVC, because I mean he's the only like main character. We can't blow him up. How are we gonna blow him up?
Yeah. I watched Bosk's Bounties video about that the other day, and I gotta be honest, I was deeply underwhelmed with it until he pulled out all the bottles. Like
Spotchka and everything.
I was just like, oh, if that goes on sale, I will buy it just so I have a whole bunch of booze bottles for Star Wars characters to sit around with. Because those are like, oh, that's pretty neat. Because the rest of it is like,
Yeah.
Also, I've been going back and collecting Star Wars Cantina patrons recently. I've been like, they're more expensive than they were when I should have bought them, but they haven't gone into terrifying prices yet. So
yeah, get them now. They have been a little pricey for a while, but like they're going to go up.
Yep.
I think as they continue this world building format, they're going to go up. So
yeah,
definitely get them now. Same thing with Jabba's when they announced the sail barge, prices on those just went through the roof.
Thankfully, I'd always been kind of on board with getting all the Jabba stuff. But yeah,
now you're getting the little droids too, right? Like from Lars Homestead scene.
Oh yeah, I got those recently. Yeah, I've got them set up by my sandcrawler over there, and the power droid, which doesn't stand properly, which really bums me out.
Oh, I was supposed to check for you to see if the legs were the same.
Yeah,
I'll grab it right now.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. It doesn't. Here, let me see if Dave.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just not talking. Hey everyone, it's just me. So what do we got here in the comments? So JJ asked thoughts on the new Cad Bane, Bad Batch Black Series. By the way, can't wait to see new sculpted vintage collection Cad Bane. # sold out. That looks good. We'll get to your question after we do with the power droid.
So I have it right here, Tom, and I'm looking at it, and the legs seem pretty well balanced to me. If anything,
you see this one?
Yeah.
I just got a dud.
I'm bummed. You got hosed.
I got a dud. I got a dud. Hasbro, you should all be fired. Everyone should be fired, and we should go to 3D printers from now on, because this will cost me.
Send it to Mattel. Start over.
Yeah.
While you guys were gone, I read JJ's question here about the Cad Bane. And
I definitely want to get into that.
Let's talk about that. So, Cad Bane. even before his appearance in the Book of Boba Fett, a lot of people loved Cad Bane. Just Cad Bane. When's he going to show up in live action? So there's finally a new figure for Cad Bane, which I really love. The first figure they did for Black Series, it's great. It's there was the exclusive version that came with Toto, which should have came in the main line with the figure, but that's neither here nor there. So this is a brand new Cad Bane. It is a retool. There are several reused parts. There's actually quite a few new parts on it too. And it's an Amazon exclusive. I think it's like $28, which is kind of expensive. And it did sell out. What do you guys think?
I'm excited for it. I squealed with delight when I saw that one. While I likewise am bummed it wasn't the Book of Boba Fett version, because I found that wonderfully creepy. Lucasfilm doesn't share their stuff with the toy company Hasbro in advance anymore for whatever their reasons are. So it's going to be a long time before we see that. But I love Cad Bane, and unlike things like Clone Troopers or Stormtroopers or Boba Fett, I'm not sick of them yet. So I immediately bought him as soon as you sent me the link for it. Yeah, I love Cad Bane. I think he's great. He's a great character. Underutilized in the new TV series.
Yeah.
Sorely.
What do you guys think? Is he still around? Still kicking? Kind of pulled like a Jack Nicholson Joker thing there at the end.
He's gone. He's gone.
He's probably dead, but at this point, Star Wars stuff, if they want to bring him back, they'll just be like, "Oh, he's back."
I think he's
I'm not
gone.
counting on him coming back, but
me neither. I think he's gone.
I think he'll be in maybe one of the other series that are set years before Boba Fett.
That could be. Could be. But I think, I was gonna say, if you bring him back at this stage, you kind of rob Boba of his his moment there at the end. But I mean, the same could be said, I guess, for the Emperor Return of the Jedi. So who knows?
Yeah. You could say that.
Somehow Cad Bane is returned.
You know what I think? I think that in The Mandalorian, they should reveal that they're resurrecting the Emperor, and then the Emperor should just be back in it. And then they do him in again. That way in episode 9, when they're like, "Oh, he's back again," it's just like, "Oh, this is just a thing that happens every few years." The Emperor just shows up. It's fine. It's cloning or dark science or Sith magic or something. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, this figure looks cool. Dave, did you get Cad Bane too?
No, I haven't bought any Bad Batch figures yet. I mainly collect Black Series. I think most everyone knows, and I collect on like emotion, I guess, and I just haven't emotionally connected with Bad Batch yet. So maybe someday this will be a huge regret of mine. But it's very similar to. I just got the one from Clone Wars. It's similar, and the arms and legs are different. There's enough new stuff I think on there, new face sculpt that warrants a purchase if you're going to buy Bad Batch. But I just haven't. I don't think I'm going to be buying any Bad Batch stuff. So, but yeah, it looks cool.
I'm with you that Bad Batch hasn't landed for me the way the Clone Wars did. So I'm basically getting the main set of characters totally on it just in case later on I decide, oh shoot,
it could come back to get me.
Right, but it's like, I don't hate the show, but I didn't even watch all of it. Like I just watched the Cad Bane episode after he showed up. I'm like, oh my god, right, there was a whole episode he was in. I didn't watch it, and I watched it, and I was like, okay.
It was much like I think how Boba Fett is now. My favorite episodes when the Rebels characters showed up, like the Hera arc, I guess, which was like 2 episodes. Seeing Kanan in the first episode, I was like, oh yeah, that really got me going, and I was just kind of like, huh, these new characters aren't. I like Omega the best.
I like Omega too. Yeah, Omega's the one I like. There's something fun and plucky about her, and I like the Kiwi accent an awful lot. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you excuse me for a second to get a refill?
Yeah.
Go get your refill, Tom.
So I'd be interested in I'd probably buy a Naboo Starfighter for Mando if that came in vintage collection. If that was HasLab or on the shelf, what do you think that would run? Like 150, 200?
I think that would be priced similarly to the X-Wings they've been doing for like $105. Like the Poe Dameron X-Wing, which was an all new sculpt, the Antok Merrick X-Wing, $105 through Target. So I think it would be priced at that level if they did. It's about the same size, right?
Yeah.
All things considered, not as wide, but maybe a little bit longer. And if it looked as good as like the Razor Crest does, yeah, I think we'd be spending at least 120 or so for that.
Yeah, like I've been telling you recently, I've been dipping my toe more and more into vintage collection, especially after listening to your podcast, the Vintage Collection podcast. I've started to pick up Maul and Ahsoka from season 7 Clone Wars. So yeah, I've picked up some Mandalorian stuff, here and there along the way, because that's one, again, emotionally, that's one that just really hits with me, Mandalorian. So yeah, I would pick up the Starfighter if that came. If it was $100, $200, I think I could swing that.
Yeah.
For vintage collection or Black
Yeah,
Series?
vintage collection. I don't know.
I bet they'll make it. They'd be fools not to. I might even buy that. I'm not even a Mandalorian fan.
Yeah, it would be cool. But now that I have the Razor Crest, like that'll hold me over for a bit. But yeah, I'd love to have his N1 like ship, whatever. Maybe it'll get a name at some point, right?
He'll be the slave too. Canon.
No, you can't change its name. It's tied to my childhood.
Yeah. So I'm going to see what's happening here in the chat. So Pico V1, Hazard balancing the scales means more 6-inch. You hit it out of the park. Not everything works in both lines. Yeah, I think that's the gist of it.
Yeah, you guys know a lot more than I do about the toys. When I have questions, I go onto our chat and I ask you guys stuff. And I think I heard you say something about the budget being slashed for Black Series, and it seemed like they had a really good 2020 for Black Series, and it's just kind of like what happened at the end of 2021 rolling into 2022. It's like we're getting
inflation. It's the inflation.
Yeah,
it's the inflation stuff going on in China. So I can talk a little bit to this through secondhand knowledge, but I collect the Super 7 lines of stuff, and Brian Flynn is super open about that. He's the head of Super 7, and he talks about that stuff. And yeah, I think late 2020, when they started announcing like future waves of stuff, there was a $10 price increase, which is about 25% increase. And he said, expect all the other companies like. These are things that you're going to start getting like next fall, like in late 2021, but expect around that point in time. Someone else has a cat on their keyboard too. Expect the other companies. You're going to start seeing that as well. You're going to start seeing those price hikes at about 25%. That's the rising cost in China, and so that's what they're trying to do to keep the prices lower, to keep it more affordable. They can't do new tooling. It's not. I was like, they've slashed the budget. They probably haven't slashed the budget. It's they haven't increased the budget, because in doing so, your $20 figures, you're probably going to start looking at like, you've seen it already. If it's a new figure or a wanted figure, it's $30 now.
Yeah, and I pre-ordered Boba Fett on Walmart. It's like $40 just with tax and everything. I was like, okay.
New Cad Bane is $28, and it's just a few new pieces. That's where it's going, and you can like it or not. I don't like it either, but those are rising costs in China. And if you want to bring it to the United States to do manufacturing here, well, we have about 10 times the minimum wage cost. So your $20 figure will be $200, but
yeah,
that's
I think what's going on. That's what I think is going on.
No, that makes sense. With a lot of the things that are going on now, it is a simple answer, like you just said there. So that makes sense to me. Sounds good.
Or it's that devilish Patrick guy doing evil.
Yeah, he's pocketing the extra tooling money and leaking Razor crests and Rancors.
Oh, Rancor.
That's funny. Yeah, I think some collectors are getting to a point where they're starting to feel like asking themselves the question, what does this toy mean to me? Am I willing to continue to be a completist and buy everything in either of these scales if with these price increases being what they are, And sounds like some people are skipping out of the hobby, or some are committing to focusing more on specific things that they're interested in. But yeah, I mean,
what I'm doing.
Price increases. It's nothing new. I mean, this, it's something that the line has historically experienced over time. But yeah, I mean, lately it's been especially notable.
The recent increase in prices in China has been like the most drastic it's ever been, like suddenly.
Yeah.
It's like 25-30%, just boom, everything it costs more now, rather than the slow gradual increase and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped being a completionist. I mean, I was never really a completionist, but I was more like, oh, I'll get them all just in case. And years ago now, I was like, nah.
Is it completist or completionist?
It's probably a completist.
Completionist.
Completionist sounds funner than to say.
Botanist.
Completionist.
No, my main collecting is Jurassic Park, Jurassic World stuff, and I've started to not pick things up as of the end of the summer. I'm skipping on some of those dinosaur repaints and stuff like that because I don't have unlimited funds, and I want to continue to get some of the Star Wars stuff and other things that I'm into. And that I've made some choices. I'm just not going to get things that aren't in the movie or whatever, or repaint or whatever, or if it doesn't hit me right. So I've changed as of the end of last year. And I mean, it stinks, I would love to have everything, but feasibly is just not there.
I don't think you need repaints. I don't think any of us need repaints. Like the upgrades to the faces on the stuff for the Star Wars figures, those are pretty cool. But even then, like, I got the new Bespin Lando that came out a couple of years ago because the original one was so awful. I was like, well, Lando can look good now. But I even skipped out on the Jyn Erso. I don't think I've gotten any of the other ones.
No, I got whatever. That one, and I just, how many times I was at Five Below and I couldn't even pay $5 for that Jyn Erso.
Right.
Yeah, but, the Jyn Erso Black Series, Tom, is a lot better. Like a lot better. I would say you can skip. You can probably skip this one. This one just came in base. I just got him yesterday.
Yeah.
You can probably skip base. He looks better, but not like a lot better. And the same thing with Chirrut. He looks better, but not like a lot better. But Jyn at the very least, I would probably get.
I'll consider Jyn again, but like, yeah, I decided to pass on all of those ones. I'd get Orson Krennic if they came out with him because he's a bad guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He looks kind of bad.
He does. Like, he's got these big eyes. Like, yeah, he needs to be tweaked. Yeah. I would buy him in a heartbeat. And yeah.
So someone wanted to talk about Black Chrysanthemum, and we should probably do that.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking figure of the year here, right?
Oof.
Yeah. So
it's not good.
Yeah. So this came out this week. Hasbro announced Black Chrysanthemum, which, ever since he's made his appearance in the Book of Boba Fett, people have been like, oh, I need that as a figure. Black Series collectors, vintage collection collectors, like, we need that as a figure. And it's like, yeah, of course he's awesome.
Yeah, we do.
So the show ends last week, and then this week they announced Black Chrysanthemum, but he's based on his comic appearance, which would be fine if the figure looked anything like his comic appearance, but he doesn't look like his comic appearance, nor does he look like his Book of Boba Fett appearance. He's just a repainted. He's basically this figure right here, just kind of slightly like retooled, just the good old-fashioned Chewbacca that's been around since the genesis of the Black Series line. And he looks
It's not very good at all.
He's bad.
Yeah, it sucks. Now, if you just want a Black Wookiee as like a background extra Wookiee, you got one.
Here's his chic extra. Yeah, can I say, in Hasbro's defense,
No, you're not allowed to defend Hasbro. Okay. They're an evil corporation and soulless and da-da-da-da-da.
All right, that's the end of that.
No, go.
But I'm willing to bet that they probably had no idea that BK was going to show up in Book of Boba Fett. They had this planned, as a comic line. Still doesn't look anything like the comic pictures.
Yeah, it still sucks.
But that adds to the controversy when, like, imagine if he wasn't in the show and they just released everything the same. Would have been like, a few people have been like, no, that sucks. I'm not going to get that. But some of the comic fans been like, that's terrible. But now you got everyone looking at it. Everyone is watching Disney Plus, and all the Star Wars fans are going, that is terrible.
That's not Black Chrysanthemum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad timing. Hasbro's had some bad timing with things recently, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
I think what looks the worst about it is just that like really vibrant like armor that he has. Like it's just like kind of like put over the figure that already exists, and it's not integrated well at all. It just kind of sits over the existing sculpt, and it just doesn't. It looks so like cartoony, and
No
which
watch
again, you
on
know,
it
fine.
or-
They're going for the comic aesthetic, fine, but it doesn't look anything like the comic aesthetic. And some
No.
people are like, you know, I can give it a pass for that because it's based on. No, it's not based on the comic. It's not based on anything. It's Hasbro like severely like being. I hate to throw around the term lazy. People do that gratuitously, and it's not always that. It's, you know, there's a lot of limitations that Hasbro has to contend with, you know, in terms of tooling, in terms of the resources, and allocating funds towards new figures, all that stuff. But this one is pretty lazy. It's just there's nothing redeemable about this figure other than if you're being a completist and you want to get it for your collection, fine. But I think, you know, if there was one figure to make you rethink the need to be a completist in that scale, and that's kind of the point I was trying to make recently on Twitter, was that's probably the figure that would do it. Like I didn't pre-order that figure. Like I buy pretty much everything Black Series, and I did not pre-order that figure.
No, it doesn't look any good. No. There was a point when I was collecting lots and lots of Wookiees from the Revenge of the Sith line. So I've got myself a little 3 3/4 Wookiee army, which I'm very excited about, and I love them. They're stuffed in the box in storage. And so when there's another universe where I'd be like, I don't care. He's a black Wookiee. That's cool. That's neat. That's new. I'll get a couple of them, and they'll be part of a Wookiee army. But that's not me now. Also, not at $28 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I bought all my Wookiees for like pennies on the dollar.
That's what makes it more outrageous, I think. I know you're paying for the packaging. It's got some nice packaging to show you what he probably should have looked like.
Wink.
But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna charge $20 or, you know, $19.99 or whatever, maybe you could afford being that lazy on. So bad.
What they need to do is they need to make Black Chrysanthemum, and then with the body, they can make Tarful.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, do that.
That would be really cool. And Pico B1 says that Chewie's most likely the only Wookiee body type Hasbro has. Yeah, that's true. But they could make another one.
Yeah, you know, it's time to invest the tooling.
Super Source says Yakfe suggested to retool the Wampa's a better base. The Wampa's too big. The Wampa's too big. I did see that. The
legs look okay, you know, but yeah, maybe the hands, but it is a lot taller.
Yeah, it just needs to be an all new sculpt. I mean, they just need to do it. I mean, especially with Book of Boba Fett. I mean, that should have been the, you know, the point in which they
probably
said, hey,
will, and it'll go up for pre-order in 2023, and we'll have it in 2025.
I was gonna say exactly that. Yeah, that's how this stuff goes now.
That's how it goes.
I just want to go to a store. I'll be old grumpy Dave for a second here. I just want to wake up on a Saturday morning, watch Book of Boba Fett, and go to Target and buy Boba Fett that same day.
Yeah.
I don't want to pre-order Boba Fett for $40 and wait 2 years.
At which point you're not even going to care about him anymore. Like we saw what happened when they released Carl Weathers and Quill figures 2 years after they showed up. Nobody bought them.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. You gotta hit while the iron's hot in this stuff, and they're not able to do that for whatever reason. I think it's Disney secrecy nonsense. But like,
yeah,
well, you're screwing yourself there, guys.
Hasbro mentioned, Patrick mentioned in the last Q&A round that they're not able to produce the quantities that they would like to in some instances because of everything going on with the inflation in China and all that you were talking about, Tom. So, you know, that could be part of it too, is you know, maybe there would be more of the stuff in stores. But, I mean, I can kind of see that, but I can also kind of say, hey, that's kind of been the case even before that. So,
right. Yeah, it's like,
yeah, they really need to figure out something. From what they've said previously, there is a plan in place to address this as time goes on with these new Star Wars shows that are starting to come out, so that they are more timely. Whether or not that's true and how that plays out, I have no clue. But they do have a plan in place for this year, for, you know, as these new series come out. But it's definitely not like 2005, right? You know, you see the movie, you're like, oh, I want want an Anakin figure, and you go to Walmart and you get one.
I walked down to my Stop and Shop, and they had a rack of them at Stop and Shop.
Yeah, it's like back then it was just easy. It was effortless, right? You saw the movie, like, oh, I want that character. You go to the store and it's there on the shelf.
Yeah.
In most cases, and it's just like we're far removed from 2005, 2002, 99.
Yeah,
so.
I have 2 kids under 10, and they were big fans of Book of Boba Fett. And there are other Disney shows, cartoons, and stuff like that they can go and buy the current toys for at a reasonable price, well stocked at Target. And for like Bluey, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that show. Other shows that are on Disney Plus, lots of toys, like Peppa Pig or whatever.
Yeah,
cheap toys, and I'm just like, Star Wars. They were on the ground using other toys and paper toys that I'd made for them to play Book of Boba Fett. I was digging out my Power of the Force 2 figures, some of my Force Awakens 3 3/4 inch 5 POA figures for them to play Star Wars with. I'm like, really? Yeah, like there's 2 kids here that could be the future of the brand of Hasbro buyers.
Probably not.
There's nothing there for them.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate and bizarre.
Yeah, my niece loves Peppa Pig, but the Batman's coming out in a few weeks, right? The movie, and you can go to Target now and you can get the Batman on the shelves. You can get Catwoman, you can get the Penguin, you can get multiple versions of Batman. Actually, you can get the Batmobile. It's like, imagine if you could go to the store and buy Boba Fett or the Mandalorian, like see them on the shelves, and you just can't. It's just not a thing. So,
and my kids don't care. They don't care if it's Vintage Collection or Black Series. If it's the Mission Fleet, if I could go buy a Slave 1 Mission Fleet on the shelf, day one, give me a 2-inch figure, give me a 0 POA figure, they'll buy it, and it's just not there.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. When a Marvel series happens, immediately they've got announcements for all the figures for it.
Yeah.
And I know they have a lot of reuse,
companies,
but like, they didn't have an Owen Wilson head ready to go, or Girl Loki. They didn't have that ready to go. Or I mean, they didn't have that already, and they were able to reuse it. They had to make that, and they did, and it was ready for the darn show to come out. And what we got, the Bad Batch exciting vintage collection pack that's just clone repaints. I didn't bother with that. I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't even get that one because it was they announced it one morning, like, so Hasbro does everything East Coast time because they're obviously and that's really
East
early.
Coast is the best, so
East Coast is the best coast. What?
I don't know about that, but that's a conversation for another time. So they announced this Bad Batch 4-pack like at 6 a.m. my time, and then it went on sale like at, I don't remember, 9 a.m. or something, and so it's just like that short window. I missed it, and it was kind of upsetting. But they say they're going to get more of them, is what the word is. So we'll see if that actually happens.
But it's 4 darn clones. They're like, it's another Rex and 3 just clones. Like,
yeah, it's a vintage collection collectors sort of thing, right? Like if you're a vintage collection collector, you're going to want that. But
that one grinds my gears more than Black Chrysanthemum, honestly. That one was like bad. Not even the characters, not even really characters from the show. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, so I know a lot of people want the Bad Batch, like proper in the vintage collection. I don't personally need those, but they kind of already opened the door with this 4-pack, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We will see. So let's see what is going on over here. Milky Way Skywalker, my local vendor refuses to carry the Black Chrysanthemum figure. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Why would you?
I know. As a collectibles line, they have an interest in putting out limited quantities to keep collecting scarcity over the long haul. So that seems to be the case. I mean, Hasbro insists that that's not the case. In their Q&As, they've said, we're not trying to purposefully make things rare, just, the manufacturing situation. But at the same time, it is incumbent upon the retailers to order in higher quantities. Like that's if they want more quantities, I don't think Hasbro will say no to making more money.
Right.
The other thing is you look at other lines, and I've said this before, you look at other lines like Marvel, you look at things like the Batman, you look at things like Pixar, you look at Jurassic, and they manage to continually keep the shelves stocked with those other lines, but for whatever reason, like Star Wars, they just can't get things in gear. So I feel like this is to some extent at least driven by Hasbro purposefully. Even though they say it's not, I feel like there's some of that in there.
No, I understood that back in 2019, 2020, when it seemed like retailers had fatigue from Force Awakens and Last Jedi product just clogging up the clearance aisle on all scales. And I thought we were maybe over that hump with the popularity of Mandalorian, and it just seems like, no, this is status quo now.
Yeah, Mandalorian is crazy popular. I mean, that TV show is basically just an action figure commercial. It's like, I don't know why they're not able to pump stuff out for that. It takes years to get it out there. It's like, and by the point in time it gets out there, people don't care anymore. You want Moff Gideon? He's there. He's on the shelf right now. You go buy him.
Yeah, you gotta strike one of the irons hot, like they say. Cliche. And I just don't understand. It seems like they're floundering too. They tried to bring back the 5 POA at Target with, was that Galaxy of Heroes and those tubes for a little bit. And they had some cool characters, and then there was the what was the 5-inch figures that ended up on clearance at Walmart. They were very stylized. They tried that. Now they're on with the Mission Fleet. What are they, 2.5-inch figures? Yeah, it's like, okay, maybe is something going to stick? Because, you know, if you want to pick a new scale, pick something, just put it out there.
Yeah, Mission Fleet supposedly is doing really well for them. Like, it's selling a lot. So I think we're going to see that continue for some years.
That bums me out, but, you know, at the same time, they managed to make a Razor Crest that's about this big, you know, and it was, what, $20 or something like that. So
40, but yeah.
40, yeah.
I have it. They sent me that, and I haven't opened it yet, but
if you don't want it, you can send it to me.
I think I'm gonna take it to work. I'm gonna put it on my desk at work. But
see,
it's.
No, go ahead.
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
I always kind of like the smaller ship thing because as a kid, the idea of carrying one of these giant things around, it just would have been impossible. So I don't mind scaled down ships, but I think I'm in the minority there. I have to give my cat a treat because otherwise she will not leave me alone. Be right back.
Give that poor thing a treat. Yeah, I really hope they have this plan solidified, Dave, for making things hit the shelf, you know, in a more timely fashion. The thing is, if they're not sending these things out in quantity, we're going to see the same situation we're in now where, it doesn't matter if it's on time or not. If you're not keeping things on the shelf, it's going to be like they're not there at all. People are going to go in. Parents might come in, gift givers, you know, people that we need to keep buying these things so that the hobby continues aren't going to see these things on the shelf. So they need to make them timely, but also in quantity, because I don't think we've seen like TVC or Black Series on the pegs in the appropriate quantities in a long time.
Yeah. It just, everything just seems so slow and reactionary, and it's so slow. It's like they don't have any product because they're afraid it's not going to sell. And then when something sells well, then they order it, but then it shows up 6 months, a year later, and then nobody wants it. And I mean, I see it in my life with kids that I'm around. I think I mentioned on the podcast like 2 years ago, for Christmas, that first year Mandalorian was out, my cousin's kid asked, we had him for like Secret Santa, just wanted Star Wars. I want Jango Fett, I want Mandalorian, I want anything. And I was just kind of like, I don't even have Mandalorian yet. I don't know how I'm gonna find this for you. And Jango Fett is like $40 on eBay.
Get the carbonized Boba Fett and spray paint him silver. There you go.
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
But it's just sad that it seems like whatever they're doing, they're catering to people our age, which is nice and it's fun, but at the same time, the children are left behind. The kids don't get anything.
We're all going to die. Like, you shouldn't be catering to. You shouldn't be catering. You should not be catering to me. I appreciate it, but Super 7 caters to me, and each one of those figures is like $56, and they come out with like 8 a year. You know, with your mainline Hasbro Mattel stuff catered to kids, and maybe people like me will also want it. But like, don't.
Yeah.
Don't
I wouldn't complain at all with if we had the same issues with Black Series and Vintage Collection as we're having right now. If they had a 5 POA or a Mission Fleet or something line that was you could go buy the main character today for everyone, for kids or whatever, you know. Because if they want to make you wait with Vintage Collection or Black Series, that makes sense. Because you know, for me being old now, 2 years feels like 2 weeks from when I was a kid. I'm
used to pre-ordering.
Yeah.
I've been used to that now for years. Not even just the sale barge, the Super 7 stuff, the Maddie collector stuff. You buy it in advance, and at some point it shows up. Cool,
right?
But yeah, I think kids, it's like.
I think the kids are being directed towards Mission Fleet, and I don't know that's necessarily a bad thing. They are more timely than what we see with TVC in the Black Series. I mean, they got the Bad Batch in there pretty quickly. The Razor Crest, Mandalorian stuff. There was like that Mando 4-pack, right, with like Cara Dune and Grogu and somebody else. Maybe the thinking is that once kids are old enough, they'll graduate into these other lines and keep those going. I'm not sure, but
I would doubt they're even aware they exist unless they're savvy on the internet.
Their dad collects them or their mom. Who knows?
Yeah.
But Milky Way Skywalker brings up an interesting point.
Yeah, I read that.
The sports trading card industry went under for a while because they overproduced due to the buyer scalper demand. So it's a tightrope for collectibles companies. And so we've seen this with Star Wars as well. Back in the Power of the Force 2 era, they produced these things in quantity. Like you couldn't unsee these things on the pegs. People were scalping them like none other. And what they ended up doing was, I think it was 98, the Power of the Force, when they had the freeze frames, they started putting these tags on them. And it was like $2 off. Take it to the registers, $2 off. And discounting them right away. And then, Phantom Menace comes out and the same thing, just a glut of product that just hangs around. And it wasn't the same. They did sell a lot, but they also had a lot of extra. So then when Power of the Jedi came around in 2001, they really dialed it back. It was a small, much more focused line. And it focused on both original trilogy and episode 1, the only prequel that was out at the time. And they kept it very, it wasn't distributed in high numbers as before. And I think ever since then, we have seen it produce in lesser quantities, but not anything near what we've been seeing in recent years. Like this is just a whole other thing. So I know that Hasbro does have to balance like how much product is going out there. They're not making the quantity of different characters that we used to see. But stores also don't seem to be ordering in the quantities that they were before. And I think part of that had to do with what we did see. Dave, you mentioned the 5 POA stuff, several years back now. And a lot of that stuff did hang around. And, when Hasbro looks at or Target or Walmart look at a figure, they don't make the distinction between 5 POA and vintage collection. They see it's a little Star Wars figure and they see that brand and they look at, is this going to sit on the shelves if we order, I don't know, 50,000 of them? Are those going to just linger on the shelves? So I think that we're still seeing
these ones will too.
Yeah, I think we're still seeing a recovery. Star Wars as a brand, as a license, I think is pretty healthy right now. But for the retailers to really like see that sink in beyond like Baby Yoda toys, beyond Grogu toys, is going to take some time. So I think we need to see that confidence like be regained on the retail side until we see the quantities increased. But I think there are things Hasbro could do, but there's also things that the retailers could do to hopefully improve the situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right, it's your turn, Dave.
All right, he's going to get killed by the killer in the mask. That's what happens.
So Alex says that's a Scalper's exclusive Paradise. So yeah, Tom, I assume that you saw these recent Boba Fett 3¾ inch Target exclusive figures that have come out in recent weeks that are like expensive.
Oh yeah, I don't remember what those are.
The recent one from like a week or 2 weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, was the Boba Fett Morak, I believe, is what it was.
Oh right, it's just like, Boba Fett, but he's $30.
It's
right?
He's like $27, $28, and yeah, it's just Boba Fett basically. There's not really a whole lot in there.
Someone else coined the term, but it's the Boba Fett tax. They think it's Boba Fett, you're going to buy him. I did not. No, thank you. If you would have to give me a brand new character I was really excited about to get me to do that.
Yeah, I am a completionist. I like using that word. It's just
Yeah.
With TVC for sure.
Mhm.
I like to have one carded. I like to have one to open, and I purposefully adjusted my schedule at work so that I would have that 5-minute window to go on there and buy it at Target right when it went up.
I forgot about this. Yeah.
Yes. And it didn't go up until like 20 minutes later, and I missed it because Target exclusives are like that. You got to be there right on time. If they don't get them up right on time, you're basically screwed unless you keep refreshing for 30 minutes or whatever.
Right.
And I mean,
my glasses here.
Yeah, they look good crooked. Keep them like that.
I'm just so confused.
If you want to enhance the buzzed look, yeah, the crooked glasses help do that. But yeah, so I missed that one. I know some people got it, and that's awesome. But they really need to sort this pre-order situation out. It's just a mess.
Yeah, it's terrible. Also, like we want to not announce it or whatever, so we have a better pre-order experience thing is just gobbledygook speak for we're not doing it because we don't want to get yelled at, I think. Yeah, no, that stinks. I'm sorry you didn't get that one. I'm certain you will later.
Maybe they'll figure something out, but we'll see.
They'll probably get more in stock at some point.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great people in the community too that usually are able to help. So,
or all the people scalping it will realize no one's really going for it, and they'll have to sell them at around the cost. That might end up happening.
Which one did you miss?
It's the Vintage Collection $29 Boba Fett.
Yeah, whatever it costs. Yeah, something like that, $29.
Cool.
And Super Source says the limit was 99. Yeah, so that's probably why the bots just go in and they scoop them up automatically before any like living organic creature is able to get their fingers in there and press the buttons.
Was that the one on Target?
That was on like 2 on Target. Yeah. So,
well, yeah. I think I pre-ordered that one, and I mean you can have it if you don't get it.
Oh, thank you, Dave. That's sweet. Well, it's my turn to jump up for just a second. I'll let you guys keep the momentum going.
All right. Good old sounds of Brooklyn.
that we go. My wife is finally home. Hello, Lena. She's waving at me.
So she was on location somewhere in the chat.
Oh yeah, she was in Manhattan.
Awesome.
Yes, she was in Manhattan. She had a sort of a business meeting actually tonight that also happened to take place at a place where you can have some brews. Awesome. So she specifically commented on liking. Are you the one that has the No, Victoria has the sour beer. Victoria has the sour beer. Yeah. She commented, "That's good. That one's good," or something like that. Right beer.
Not a lot of beers that I don't like, but I'm weird like that.
Lena's very similar. She likes most beers. It's very rare this comes across one that she does not like.
Although it always annoys me trying to get something that's not an IPA. Like, I mean, I love IPAs, but if I'm in the mood for something else, I get annoyed. And I feel for people that are not IPA people and want a craft brew that is not an IPA. And I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. All right, Jay here is asking thoughts on the Droid Target series stuff. I have no interest. I didn't get them.
Yeah, that was a little before my time. And I felt bad for people that I knew that were getting them just destroyed.
Were they all
that's
destroyed?
Another thing that you're collecting for the packaging.
Yeah.
And they're shipped in bags, crammed into boxes if you ordered multiples.
Yeah, that's terrible. That stinks. They weren't for me because they're just repaints of figures I already have. And those card backs aren't ones that I have any nostalgia for. So I passed on those, which was good because apparently they were nightmares to get.
I'm sure Victoria got them, and I think she might have gotten some that are okay with the card backs.
Yeah. I actually finally bought some Vintage Collection Mandalorian figures because they were all $10 on Amazon. So about a good $5 off on each one. So I'm like, I'll buy them and put them in a box and decide what I want to do with them later on.
Yeah. I don't know if I saw something. I saw when they were like 13 or 12 or something, and I did not pull the trigger, but I probably would have pulled the trigger at $10.
Yeah, $10. I was like, yeah, heck with it. Why not? Yeah.
But
hey, you know what I just watched? Jurassic Dave.
What's that?
Just watched Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I watched it a couple of years ago when it came out. I thought it was rubbish. And we just watched it earlier this week, I think. And you know what? It was pretty fun.
Yeah. I think when I first saw it, I was all up on the hype and I liked it a lot. I was like, oh, it's like maybe the second or third best one. And maybe I have come down from that. But I still like it. And I don't understand the hate that it got. I mean, there's a couple of absurd things in there that were not as absurd as Jurassic World. But I think it's pretty good. And it's got some things in it. I recently reread the Lost World novel. And it's got a couple of things in there that are in the novel that they've adapted that I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Oh, like what? I don't remember.
Like the Mills character is a lot like Dodson and the way that he reacts and stuff like that, especially with like attempted murder, and he actually murders someone in the film. Yeah, just like a lot of the dialogue is like word for word from Malcolm from that book in his so yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, for me, Jurassic Park 3 is bottom of the barrel, which a lot of people really like that.
I like that one more than The Lost World.
Oh, okay.
Cool. We're talking Jurassic. Nice.
Yeah, I just rewatched Fallen Kingdom, and I was like, I actually had a pretty good time watching that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always surprise me, Tom. Like the way that sometimes I think you might have certain feelings about certain movies or shows, and then you go the opposite direction. So you always, but you support it though. You support him though with like reasons. You must usually like you. It's not just I like that one better. It's like you have reasons.
Yeah, this one was like it's. I didn't like originally that it was dinosaurs in a single location again. I very much felt since the original Jurassic Park movie, the next story should be they get out everywhere. And they've taken forever to do that. So I'm looking forward to the new one. But then watching this one, it's like, okay, you've got the evil people is buying them up for their own terrible purposes felt logical. Although the underbidding, they're like, it's only $4 million and you'll get a dinosaur. It's like, you think you're going to get a dinosaur? Like, we'll sell our apartment here and get a dinosaur then. Like, no. And then the whole the big gothic mansion thing and the way the creepy, I forget what the bad guy dinosaur was called in this one.
Indoraptor,
and the way it just like it's like a straight up, rather than being a movie about dinosaurs, which is generally what I want going to see a Jurassic Park movie. This was a straight up monster movie about a genetically modified monster that hunts people in a big creepy mansion. And when I thought about it like that, I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty fun for that. Yeah. Anyway, looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, it's a very like reactionary franchise, I think, as I think Spielberg wanted to take them onto the mainland in Jurassic Park 3, and that wasn't received well. The San Diego scene from The Lost World, and they just kind of well, let's do another fun one where they're romping around on an island. And then that wasn't received well, and it was just kind of like, well, I guess the franchise is dead now.
Yeah.
And then they I think they did like a soft reboot with Jurassic World, and they do want to get them onto the island, and it kind of like Fallen Kingdom should have been the first movie.
Yeah.
And so it's everything's very weird the way it's laid out.
Yeah. The scene at the beginning, we were watching it. Lena had never seen it before, and the opening, like, as soon as Chris Pratt gets shot and then everyone's trying to escape the island, is very intense and very, very, like, really exciting, terrifying. I don't know how they're going to get out of this stuff. Watching the scene with the smoke coming up and killing off the dinosaurs as they're, like, howling, that doesn't sit well with me because I don't like that sort of thing. But it did what it was supposed to do. It was effective at that. I mean, they killed the brachiosaurs, guys. Kalinda, I'm doing a podcast.
Nice. Let's see what's going on here in in the chat. So JJ, were you able to grab the droids 3 3/4 inch? Yes, but I have to approve the delays every week. That's kind of annoying. I wish they wouldn't do that. Yeah. Milky Way Skywalker also missed the TVC boba. Mary says, do you have a PO box? No, but I'm working on that. I'll keep you posted. Paul says, just like Axe Wolves late to the pre-order party. So that's an interesting thing. Did either of you order any of those pre-orders this week? There was the Axe Wolves, Oscar Reeves.
What's Axe Wolves? Oh my gosh, no. But I remember.
Who was the third one? It was the who was the third one? Gosh, I'm sure somebody's going to say in the chat before I remember what it was. It was Mayfield. He was the third one. Did either of you pre-order any of those?
No, I did not.
No, I didn't. I didn't even remember who Axe Wolves was. I saw the picture and who? I was like, I have no idea who this is.
The card art isn't very good on it. Yeah, so this was interesting.
Can you hear this, guys? Can you hear this?
I can hear that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. My goodness.
Yeah, that's there we go.
That's the cat? Oh. Sounds like she's singing or something.
She's very, very chatty, and she very much wants my attention.
So these ones went up for pre-order about on time, and but in limit 2, right, per person that ordered. But the for whatever reason, Axe Wolves was set for quantity 99, at first.
Was he a Target exclusive or?
Yeah.
Was he in a show?
Yeah. Of course he was in the show from Mandalorian. So they sold. So that one sold out quick. The other 2 lasted for a bit, and then about 15 minutes later, they put Axe Wolves back up, and then the other 2 sold out, and then they went back up an hour or 2 later, and they lasted for an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
So some improvements there, but they still kind of screwed up with Axe Wolves. I'm not really sure. Somebody just didn't set the limit right.
Oh.
But it seemed like it was a little bit better overall. For unlike the Boba Fett from 2 weeks back, it was a little bit better. So I think hopefully they can get to a point where it's at least like Walmart, right? Walmart's pre-orders go up, and you can usually pre-order them for several hours, if not the whole day, before you gotta wait till they come back into stock.
I'm having the weirdest sense of deja vu right now. Have we had this exact same conversation about another set of these things in the past? Identical to this?
I'm sure we have at some point.
I'm wait, yeah.
I'm sure we have at some point, where it's always the same things, right? The pre-order sells out,
Mm-hmm.
How can they make it, all that kind of thing. But this was a little bit better. So hopefully they keep that up.
Yeah.
Black
Axe Wolves looks great. I agree with you. Home Damn. Axe Wolves looks exactly like I remember him from my dreams, from my visions.
Yeah. The figure looks good. From what we've seen, these all look pretty good.
Yeah.
The Coscaries and Black Series is fantastic. Just the likeness is dialed in. They screwed up on her legs because she shouldn't have shin armor, but she does. In TVC, same thing. They were using Bo-Katan, so she has the shin armor when she shouldn't. But
we've got to start accepting if they can reuse a thing, they're going to reuse it. We're not going to get exactly accurate because they're not going to spend the money anymore, and that's
right.
These vintage collection figures are looking so good, and it's not my main focus. And then 2 weeks ago, I was so excited to order my Black Series Din Djarin in what was it, the disguise that he's in, and I realized that's not Black Series, that's vintage collection.
Oh, yeah,
and the head sculpt is so much better than my just got my wisdom teeth pulled Din Djarin Target exclusive.
Pedro Pascal is such a handsome man.
He's
such a handsome man. Him and Oscar Isaac for the sequel trilogy figures, when they released that, it's like someone there hates him. Who is it? Is it Patrick?
He's got an ex-girlfriend or something on the Star Wars team.
God, I know, right?
I call the Mandalorian one with the removable helmet the blowfish Mando, because he just what his face looks like. It's it looks awful.
Stunned. Stunningly bad looking.
How do they make him so bad? Yeah.
Oh, do you have him?
This guy.
Yeah, there you go. Blowfish Mando.
What?
What the?
Why? Pedro Pascal is one of the most handsome men on the planet. Like, I don't know.
It looks just don't
Is
take
this
Elmo
is
off,
this
man.
like just designed so that men can buy him and be like, well, I look better than him. Take that. Women don't like Star Wars anyway.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, so pre-orders. Well, I'm sure we're gonna get plenty of pre-orders this year. And yeah, I mean, so I guess, my takeaway from the last few weeks is, even if you're there right when and this isn't nothing new, Tom, right? Like we were talking about, I think before, like the Ghostbusters retro pre-orders, things like that, where
yeah.
remember they said they were going to be at a certain time and it didn't come out. They didn't come up till like the next day or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
It was really a few days later. It was weird. I ended up buying a whole nother set of those at Walmart last year up in Kerhonkson, New York. We were staying up there in a cabin for a few days, and they just had a bunch of them there. And I'm like, I'm going into a store and I can buy Ghostbusters. What? I'm just going to do it. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I did that too when they were on clearance for like $5 or $3.
I really was hoping to find some at that point.
I got Winston and I got Ray, and they were the best card backs of any of them that I've gotten. And then I brought them home and I realized the bubble was completely different than the original ones. And I'm like, oh, there's variants on these. So the bubbles must have been different in the later runs.
The bubbles themselves were different?
The way they packed the companion ghosts.
Wow.
The bubbles are different. Because I think the Winston one always had like a double thick.
Huh.
And it was down like half size.
Oh, that's really interesting. Wow, I had no idea about that. I'll have to take a look at this. I got a second Ecto 1 whenever they went up for sale for like $20 or maybe it was $30 or something in the past.
Yeah.
Probably within the past 6 months now, but I was like, just in case.
I think it was like Black Friday. They had a really good sale that went on for several days, and they like discounted them quite a bit. I got an extra one too.
I keep looking for that party wagon.
Me too.
I got the blimp the other day.
Oh yeah, I've got the blimp. I've got the blimp.
And
again, if you guys want an opener blimp and you want the blimp, I'll give you the blimp. I just want the box.
Yeah, I have the box, and I think I have a box to ship it to you, so we'll have to hook up.
Well, they they haven't gone back up on Walmart, but periodically they have a third-party retailer that sells them for like $60 for the party wagon.
Yeah.
But on eBay there are some sellers. I looked the other day. There's some sellers that are selling it for like $50, like to get it shipped. So I may have to take advantage of that because it's been how long now? How many months have we been trying to get this stupid party wagon?
Yeah.
And it's just been like impossible because I don't know. Playmates, I don't know.
Yeah, we've got a shop down the street that's selling the last reissue for $225.
From 2010-ish, 2009.
I guess, yeah, but I mean, it looks basically the same thing. So that's kind of thing. Yeah, that's why it's like, is it $50? It might be worth something 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
Ooh, speaking of Ninja Turtles, did you guys see? Because we all love Ninja Turtles here, right? Victoria's Cantina, where do you go for Ninja Turtles talk?
For toys.
Yeah, toys. Did you guys see the Big Bad Toy Store Last Ronin Playmates figure that they announced?
Yeah. I'm surprised that was a Playmates figure. I saw that. I thought it was NECA or something in.
There's a NECA one too, but you open that, it'll like snap in half. So I'm not going to get that. But yeah, I was very excited about that. Apparently it's going to scale with my ones in there.
So is it a 6-inch figure? Or
no, four and a half.
Okay.
Like the original figures. Yeah.
$30.
Yeah.
And it is 4.5 inches tall. Made of plastic. 14 points of articulation.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I hadn't seen this one yet, but yeah, looks cool. Not my personal cup of tea, but it's
a lot better than those 6-inch figures they have on the shelf right now.
Oh man, I haven't seen those on the shelf, but I did order some initially because I used to have the 2-packs. I used to have those figures years ago, and then I sold them once NECA started doing their thing. Yeah. And then so I'm like, oh, they went back up, $30, 2 figures, not bad. I'm gonna go and get them, and I did. I got all the sets except for the last one with the Triceratops because once I got those other 3 and I looked at them like, holy crap, these are awful. So I just returned them. Especially the shredder. Like that shredder, people had wanted it for years and they didn't do it when they were supposed to 10 years ago. But now that it's like out, like you look at it next to the turtle and like the head is so tiny and it looks terrible.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, oh man, I really like Shredder. Maybe this will be a good, but I looked at the pictures and it's not good. Linda is not going to leave me alone. See, now she's, can you see where she is right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see the ears.
She's opening.
Cute. She wants to participate too.
She does. She says, I want to talk about Star Wars toys. Do you mind if I get one last one?
Go for it.
3 drink Tom.
That's it. At that.
Go for it. We're gonna get a Grumpy Tom here in just a few minutes, I think. So Dave, so you do dabble in Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles too a little bit, don't you?
And I just started this year. Just like I said, emotionally connection. That's what I've had. So I got the reissues from when I was a kid. Played with them with my girls and stuff. I got the party wagon, opened up all the 4 turtles. Kind of kept some of the weapons away from them because they're so fragile compared to the original ones. But yeah, they're good. I like them, and I've tried to buy some doubles, and I have the right here on the wall.
Yeah, there you go.
Ones from this year. But I mean, I do not buy NECA. I'm not a Turtles guy. I was like, I want to remember what this was like having these from when I was a kid. So,
yeah,
and I have just started collecting again in like 2015, 16, 17. I was really starting to get back into buying stuff. So I was not there for all the reissues back in 2010, 2012.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. There's nothing like those figures, right? Like it's nice to see these innovations on, like the plasma series or on like anything like that. But like when you go back to those originals that, we did have so many eons ago now, like it's just like there's nothing like that. So
which ones?
We're talking about like the original, like when they bring back like Playmates or Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Any of those originals that they re-release, decades later.
Yeah, it really just hits that spot, especially at this time when like people are starting to like go and buy the original carded ones for whatever their reason. I mean, that's why the Masters Universe Origins line is entirely based off of, it looks just like the original one. It's on the same card art. It's got more articulation, but put it on the wall, it looks like the same thing you had as a kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm crazy about it.
I hope we get more.
Yeah, I'd like to get the villains. I know they released in what there's a San Diego Comic-Con pack or something with like the van. Is that what that was?
Wait, yes. Are the turtle villains?
Yeah, it was like last summer.
I got that.
It was
great.
Last year.
Mm-hmm.
I have those too. And then there was like the movie Turtles from Target, like you could get too.
I got those ones.
I got those. I did too. I bought them. They were cheap, so like considering like what you're getting, they were pretty cheap. So I bought them all too. And I haven't opened any of them, but
yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, you can get probably the villain set for $100, which is a significant markup from the original cost on it. It was like, I don't know, 40 or something like that. Maybe it was 100.
Unfortunately, they skimped on the paint on some of those. I think they had some certain like things they didn't paint, like the boots or just random things. But
in the movie ones?
No, on the villains.
Oh, really?
They didn't.
I know. I'm bummed that the card art is always the same for all of those ones, rather than the various card arts from the original ones. That bums me out. But
no, turtles are awesome. My kid and I just finished watching the 2012 series, and she was like so into that. And I was on eBay and Facebook Marketplace, and I was able to get a decent haul of the old, of those figures.
Yeah.
And had a pretty good Christmas gift this year. And we got some of the vehicles, all the toys. I had to get like April is pretty expensive. I had to pay like $25 for like a loose April.
Because nobody bought April at the time.
Corinne is the one that's like expensive. That's the that we don't have yet.
But
I was able to get a shredder with his helmet on off of Facebook and stuff. It was fun. It's fun hunting those toys because they're like cheap on Facebook. going local, picking them up.
Yeah.
The 2012 Turtle series is, in my opinion, the absolute best iteration of that franchise. It takes all of the fun of the original cartoon with all of the lore stuff from the original comics, and just I absolutely adore it. I was stunned by how much I liked that one.
Yeah, it's so good. Just a continuous story, and watching the evolution of the turtles and just getting better at what they do throughout the seasons. And then even when they get into the weird like multiverse stuff, and when they bring in the original 88, 87 turtles, that's fun too, with like the original voice actors coming back.
Well, they did that with the 2000 series as well.
Okay.
That was written by Rob David, who now runs the Masters Universe brand stuff. Who's a friend of a friend. But yeah, same sort of thing. Yeah, I'm crazy about that one. That one's great. I'm looking to get the other main characters in. Like, we bought this from Secret Stash years ago when driving through, because Donatello is obviously the best turtle. But looking to fill in those gaps on those ones too.
Those are great toys with all the articulation, and they're very durable. And
I like the feel of the plastic too. It's like a little soft, but durable. And one thing I liked about that series too is they brought back the battle shells. You can open up the shells and put, on some of them, and put the weapons in the back like you could with the Playmates, the old ones.
Yeah. Also, like the playset they had, the giant turtle layer playset was just magnificent. Have you seen the pictures of that thing?
Yeah.
Holy cow! I bought 2 of them in upstate New York for $50 a piece. Really excited to sell them at like massive price increase. That never works out. Kalinda, we have given you all of the treat mouse.
That's animals for you. That's what my dog does. It's just like, do everything for them. It's just like,
yeah, it's funny. Like, yeah, most of the time when I'm editing videos or podcasts or whatever, like I'll have my dog in my lap because she's just insistent, like, pick me up, pick me up, pick me up. I'm like, okay, come on, and she'll just fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, pets are awesome. All right, so let's see here. With the witching hour, Tom, we haven't heard any stories yet.
Oh, I don't have any good ghost stories. I know. No new spooky stuff from old Tom. Gosh. Yeah, I know. I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing this time. Hang on one second. My wife just asked me something.
How about you, Dave? I know you
said, "Boo this man."
That antique.
Nice. Boo this man.
How about you, David?
I don't have any new stories. I mean, I've seen some things in my house. I live in a house that I think dates back to the late 1800s.
Wow.
Like 18. When we bought the house, it was said 1920, and I knew that wasn't true. And I have a picture from like 1900, and I have stories going back to 1860, which I don't believe. It's a very old house. So I've seen some things since we've spoken last, but it's just like I will see like in my peripheral, like people walking around and like coming to me. And then I won't, when I turn my attention, I won't see it. But
there's medication to help you with that.
And for everything else, there's drinking.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I do it so often.
Tom never sees ghosts. He doesn't believe in ghosts. Why does Tom never see ghosts? I wonder.
That's cool though, Dave. Yeah, that's actually. Have you ever considered setting up like a camera and just seeing what gets picked up?
Yeah, but I'm incredibly lazy. But that would be interesting. Did I ever tell you on one of these things? I can't remember. Did I ever tell you about my parents' house, which would have been the second house I was in as a child? It was not an old house. It was built in like the 70s. Did I ever tell you about that?
Oh my gosh, what are you loading up now? What are you doing?
So, it was not an old house, bi-level, built in like the 70s and stuff. And the owner before them, I don't think he was the original owner, but anyway, he had like schizophrenia, and they went through a divorce. They had apparently crazy parties at this place and stuff. There was a pool in the back, and people would jump off the roof into a pool that did not have a deep end. It was just an above ground, like 4-foot pool. Crazy parties annoyed the neighbors. When we moved in, all the neighbors would just say, "We're so happy that you're a normal family in here." So the guy, apparently they settled on the house, my parents did, and the guy showed up like ready to fight my father at settlement, and thought that in his mind, because of his, I guess, his schizophrenia, that he was somehow being gypped out of a deal or something, or just very bad. And I don't remember how that was settled, or because I was like 5 when we moved in there. So anyway, he was apparently so mad about the settlement, and they ended up having no home because of the divorce and stuff, and he was living with his parents. And he actually got drunk one night and crashed his parents' car into their house. This was after the settlement, and they wanted him to just like sleep it off at jail overnight and stuff like that. And he ended up hanging himself.
Oh God!
In jail with the sheets. And so in that house, when I was like young, I would see things all the time, and I was always unsure if it was him. And I would just like men walking around, like the same thing. I would see like dark shadows move around in areas and stuff. And I was scared to death of the basement, which really wasn't a basement. It's just a bi-level. So it was just like living quarters and stuff. But I wouldn't go down there till I was much older, till I was like 10. Oh. Scared the crap out of me. I thought there were like vampires living in there or something like that. But like as I got older, I always wondered
it was
was like him. Like obviously had an attachment to the house, and like something happened directly after settlement when we moved in where he killed himself. And I would see things all the time, black shadows, people walking across. I would look the doorways, and I would see people walk across the doorway, and I would walk into the room and there'd be no one.
Oh, wow.
So
that's creepy.
Yeah.
That is creepy. Yeah. No, I had a couple of things happen too at my parents'. So they had a custom house built in like 88 or so. And we moved in, I think, in 89. And it was a brand new house, like nothing to be worried about, right? I mean, I didn't really think about ghosts at the time, but growing up, I did have a couple of things happen there. And I didn't see anything like, see anything like what you're saying, Dave, but there was a time me and my sister were in the living room, and like on one of the tables that my mom had, there was a lamp, like a clay lamp, and it just like fell off the table and like shattered, and we got blamed for it, of course. But we were like, no, we didn't touch it. Like it just fell off. And then there was a time many years later, I was in high school, and I saw my mom used to have these trees like around the house, like these artificial trees. And there was one in the living room, and it just like shook like that. Like somebody grabbed it and shook it. It shook like that. No windows open, nothing like that. It's just like weirdly just shook. And I said, like she was nearby, and I said, hey, did you see that? And she's like, what? How come only I see these things? The most recent thing, though, I do have a little story. So for my birthday this year, last month, my husband and I stayed in. We went to Hollywood for the weekend, and
I remember seeing that. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we stayed in Marilyn Monroe's actual like suite at the Hollywood Roosevelt, where the hotel said she lived there for 2 years. You can rent out her suite, and which is a little surreal, just kind of like imagining like you're using the same like shower and the same like sleeping in the same room that she stayed in. So that was pretty cool. But I went in, of course, anytime I've stayed in this hotel, it's been weird. Like there's been weird things that happen. But in this case, like I was just, it's a separate part of the hotel, right? So like the original hotel's from the 1920s, like the main tower, but then they have this other part, which is from the early 1950s. It's a much newer part of the hotel. So one of the nights, like we were sitting in the living room, no music on, TV off. We were just kind of sitting, drinking some cocktails, and all of a sudden, like one of the lights, like we start talking about ghosts, like just talking about ghosts, and the lights, the power in the room, like drops, like the electricity, like audibly, like diminishes, and like the lights dim, and then it comes back on, and like just like flickering for a bit, and we're just like hey, are you trying to communicate with us through the light? Like, just like, and then like the light like starts like going like this, like blinking rapidly, like just a light bulb. So it was just, and then it comes back on and like normal. And so it was just kind of a weird thing.
I think it's elves.
Of course. Elves would explain a lot of things. They're so small they can finagle their way around different areas. So it could be the elves, totally. But yeah, it's a weird world we live in. I mean, we have science can only go so far, right? It can explain the tangible, the things we can see, the things we can hear, smell, anything with the five senses, but it doesn't really explore anything beyond that.
Well, it tries to.
It tries to, but who's to say there's other senses that we as humans generally lack or can't fully perceive, but they may be there somehow. You guys want
to hear something creepy?
Yeah.
Of course we do.
This is from the book Three Body Problem, which I love. Now, keeping in mind that our planet is a relatively young planet in the age of the universe, right? It's not terrifyingly old. Not nowhere near as old as some of the stuff that developed near the start of the universe. These are two things that one is called the shooter and the other is called the farmer. There's a farm. There's a guy. There's a rifleman, and he has a big sheet of paper, right? Big flat two-dimensional sheet of paper, and he sets it up, and he does target practice at it. And he shoots every 10 centimeters. Bullet hole goes straight through this this two-dimensional piece of paper. On the surface of the two-dimensional piece of paper, there is a two-dimensional civilization that develops science, and their scientists realize one of the laws of the universe, a physical law of everything, is that every 10 centimeters, or whatever they call that, there's a big hole. That's just a law of the universe, because as far as everything they're aware of, that's the case. That's the shooter. The second was the farmer. Farmer's about turkeys. There's a scientist turkey that realizes that every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, God comes in and feeds them. And every day, they never have to worry about anything because God comes and provides them with food every single day at 6 o'clock in the morning. This is a law of science. This is a law of nature until the week before Thanksgiving. Now apply that to those ideas to everything out there and how young we are, not only as a species, but as a planet.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other stuff out there that we look at and we're like, well, that's just, these are just natural things. Are they? We have no idea. We have no idea. Right. I'm not talking about gods. I'm just talking about like civilizations that might have existed out there that managed to evolve a million years ahead of us. Like, what would that be like? We have no idea. I have no idea at all.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I mean, we only know what we know, right? Like we only know what's within our field of vision, so to speak. Mm-hmm. We don't have any idea of what's beyond that. We don't have any idea of, what layers are intermingled with the layers that are perceivable to us. So it's interesting. I think there's a lot more there that maybe we'll discover one day, or we won't discover, and we'll have to wait till we ascend to the next plane to experience. But
if we get there, if there are not other civilizations out there that are potentially a million years more advanced than us, then we are less likely to ever achieve that state ourselves. Because there's so much space out there that it's got to have happened before us. And if it hasn't, that means before we get there, something happens.
Yeah.
Also, I like when Boba Fett rode the Rancor.
What's up?
What did you say, Jeff? Oh.
Where'd I go?
There he is.
I'm here.
That was weird.
But yeah, I like everything that you're saying. You're obviously more read than I am on things like that, but I find that stuff like super interesting, and I've thought of stuff like that before in the past. We talk about like ascending to like another consciousness and stuff, and look at like I've had cats and stuff in the past, and there was one time when I was photographing my cat, and I had thought like I have this digital camera and I'm photographing and stuff like that, and cats are like pretty smart. You know, but there's no way that they could understand this little box thing that I'm photographing them and that I'm taking a digital photograph of them and how I can store their light and their image and I can reproduce it later. There's no way that cat, as smart as it is, could understand that. And I just thought about, what if I was the cat?
Yep.
And there's people out there that just, there's no way that I could understand something out there in the cosmos. So I'm sure someone has had a thought similar to that.
Yeah, we've
more
developed
profound than I could express, but yeah, I like that stuff that you're talking about.
We've developed on this planet the same amount of time as that cat. We all share the same ancestry. We all came from the same splitting single-celled life form that split in two. We all came from the exact same thing.
Yeah.
What about one that's 1 million years older?
Mm-hmm.
What would that be like?
So interesting. Yeah, I love that. I love talking about that stuff.
Anyway, I highly recommend you guys read the 3 Body Problem book series. There's 3 books: 3 Body Problem, The Dark Forest, and Death's End. They're by a Chinese author named Cixin Liu, Cixinliu, translated, and they are fascinating and terrifying and thought-provoking, and they'll like it's all the ideas are just like crazy stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Anyway, folks, it is 1 a.m. for old Tom.
Yeah,
I think I've got mosey.
Right on. It is. We have been going just about 2 hours now, so cool stuff, guys. As always, thanks for coming on. It's been a blast. We kind of go all over the place. We start with our focuses on, toys or anything timely. And then, we kind of move on and go into our usual more obscure territories here where we end up losing half our audience. But it's okay because it's fun. It's fun. And, I wouldn't trade that for anything. So thanks to both of you for coming on here and hanging out.
Thank you, yeah.
Real quick, Dodgen had a question about Mattel's lawyer team thing. That's been up there for a little while.
Yeah.
So this was a huge thing. I talked to Tim last week on a cocktail hour, and he was on here and we talked about the situation. He got reinstated on Instagram, and Andy has gotten reinstated on YouTube. So I think everything is resolved. I don't know if they made any official comment other than what was given to both of these content creators behind the scenes, which is what you would expect.
Yeah.
But thankfully that both of the situations got resolved.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that seems like nonsense. All right, sorry.
It was totally, but yeah, no, thanks to everybody who has been hanging out with us for these last couple of hours. It's been a blast. We appreciate the comments and the participation. Be sure to hit that like button. We do this for fun because we enjoy hanging out, but definitely check out our contributors here, Tom and Dave. So let me start off with Tom. Where can our viewers, whether they're viewing right now or they're going to come back and watch this, tomorrow in the coming days, find you online?
Just look out into space. I'm out there somewhere.
Floating out there somewhere. Okay.
I'm Woozlin Demon, WOOZLINDEMON on Twitter, and I don't post enough on Instagram to be worth checking out there. But I'm there too.
He's everywhere.
I'm out like in space.
Nice.
And Dave, where can our viewers look you up online?
Jurassic Dave 93, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Not much of anything there on YouTube. And I was a guest this week on the Jurassic Park podcast for the Lost World Book Club with Ben, Jurassic Site B. You want to listen to the most recent episode, Jurassic Park podcast, I'm on there. Check that out.
Oh, cool.
Very cool. So thanks to both of you. Let's do this again, in a month or so.
I miss you guys.
Yeah.
And I missed hanging out with you guys too. And it's always a blast. So cheers. I'm almost done with this triple sour beer. It's delicious. I'm going to buy it again. It's great.
Good.
Excellent.
But yeah, thanks to everybody. And Yeah, may the force be with you. And no matter where you're tuning in from out in the galaxy, we hope to see you next time.
And beware the giant shrimp in the basement.
Beware the giant shrimp in the basement. Take care, everybody. Good night.